Another bruising day before Congress for Secretary of State Antony Blinken. A Senate panel grilling him for answers about the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan because so far the Biden administration has refused to say it did anything wrong. Republicans not mincing words.
You own this. The Biden administration caused this disaster.
This was a complete debacle.
We had every reason to believe and to plan for the rapid collapse of the Afghan military and the Afghan government.
President Biden has described the evacuation from Afghanistan as an extraordinary success. This has to be the lie of the 21st century.
And things got really heated when Senator Ted Cruz pressed Blinken on whether U.S. officials gave the Taliban a list of names of American citizens during the chaotic evacuation.
Did the State Department give the Taliban a list or multiple lists of Americans and/or Afghans that we wanted out?
Those reports and the idea that we would do anything to endanger our citizens or anyone else at a time when we were trying to save their lives is flat out wrong. In limited instances where we were seeking to get a bus or a group of people through a checkpoint, we gave a manifest to the people at the checkpoint to demonstrate that those people were expected.
Roughly how many names were on the list you gave?
Doesn't matter because they all...
Dozens, hundreds, thousands. Give us some order of magnitude.
This happened in a handful of situations where to
Dozens?
get through...
So is it your testimony it wasn't hundreds? I want to understand, did you give them thousands of names?
No, we did not.
And on it went. Jesse, one of the things Senator Ron Johnson said to Blinken is that there's some frustration that it feels that the administration is detached from the situation.
So he did an okay job. Cruz did much better. But the Republicans in general were focused way too much on sound bites that they can push out to donors and on social media. This hearing needs to be about establishing a pattern of facts, a timeline, and getting direct testimony on the record. When did you know? And what did you know and when did you know it? And then you can present that evidence to the American people, and that's how you get to the truth and accountability. Kabul did not fall in 11 days, Dana. That is a lie. It took months for the Afghan army to desert and surrender. The Taliban takeover came after 3 months. Biden was briefed by the intelligence agencies. State Department cables went out. Embassy cables went out. Biden knew in July that the Taliban was taking over because he got on the phone call with the Afghan president and said, lie for me. Make sure it looks better on the ground so I get help politically, and then maybe I'll give you a little more air support. So the lies cost lives, and we need to know the facts. So Al-Qaeda's back in Afghanistan, and we have dead Marines, and we have a huge technology transfer to the Chinese military, which we're going to have to deal with in the Pacific. And now we're importing all these child brides. We're bringing in thousands of Afghan men who've married 12-year-olds. Cruz got into that. Where are these people going to live, Dana? In America, we call them child molesters. They're not going to live in Antony Blinken's neighborhood. So what are we going to do with them? So if this was a Republican president, you'd already have impeachment hearings. The Democrats go after these hearings like litigators during a homicide trial. Republicans, you act like it's a debate club. No, we want answers, we deserve answers, and we're not going to get it if you just beat around the bush.
Jessica, many times these hearings do feel performative, not productive. I think in the House side, they had 3 to 5 minutes. In the Senate side, they have 7. So there's benefits, I guess, to being a senator. But there was something from Senator Bob Menendez in terms of his frustration as the oversight chairman. Watch.
The execution of the U.S. withdrawal was clearly and fatally flawed. This committee expects to receive a full explanation of the administration's decisions on Afghanistan since coming into office last January. There has to be accountability.
I want to get your take on something. So Lloyd Austin would not testify today. He's the Secretary of Defense. They said that, well, he's going to be testifying in front of another committee later this month. There's some frustration from people who follow this that this is all just being done in a piecemeal way, and they would like to have a commission like the 9/11 commission or something. Is that something you think Democrats would be willing to do?
I actually do think it's something Democrats would be willing to do. I mean, Bob Menendez is a strong Biden supporter. This isn't just like any Democrat. This is someone from the get-go backed Biden, wanted to back Biden in 2016 when Hillary ended up being the nominee. And his words were as forceful as Ted Cruz's words or Ron Johnson's words. And yesterday we saw it from key figures in the Democratic House, like a Karen Bass. And I think that it is going to continue. I do think on an optics level, it made a big difference that Secretary Blinken was in person today.
Absolutely.
Not that it was his fault for not going yesterday. It was the rules that you could zoom in. There was even the congressman who was in his closet who did it. But you should be there. This is a big deal. It will be, as Leon Panetta said, it will be a huge moment in his time as Secretary of State, for better or for worse. And I did like the dynamic better in person. It needs to be treated with respect, especially since we lost American lives, 13 and 18 wounded. But it felt like a bipartisan shellacking to me. It felt like yesterday with longer time limits. And I think that that's something that the Biden administration is prepared for. They know what the polling looks like on this, and they're going to show up and they're going to take it.
Katie, one of the things that frustrated some of the people that are working behind the scenes, these private groups working with veterans who are trying to get their interpreters and their families out, was when Antony Blinken said, every one of the people, and I guess he was talking about the Americans that are left behind and the green card holders, has been assigned a caseworker, a case manager, and they have a team of case managers. And one of the young women I talked to said, she said that can't be true. She said, if it is true, then all of these messages I'm getting are just people who absolutely can't get anybody to return their calls at the State Department.
Well, and the State Department has now tried to kind of take credit for these private groups and organizations that have been able to get people out when the government has failed to do so. And when the Secretary of State was asked if the State Department didn't allow certain flights to take off, if they were denying people access to the airport, the answer from the Secretary of State was no, when we know from talking to a number of people and from sourcing that they were denying flights taking off. They were denying people coming into the airport, and they were telling people to come to the airport when they couldn't get there because the Taliban wasn't letting them through for weeks on end. The bipartisan nature of this, I thought, was interesting, and based on the idea that when you listen to each of them speak today, and this happened a lot yesterday in the House, every single senator and congressman has a story linked to trying to getting somebody out of Afghanistan. And it is, the job of congressional offices and offices in the Senate to help get people home, but it really is the State Department's job. And for the administration up to this point to keep saying that this was a successful airlift, it was a successful evacuation, when you have senators and congressmen still getting phone calls from Americans and SIVs who are stuck in Afghanistan, that really makes it a lot closer to each of their offices and the work that they're doing.
I also wanted to play one other piece of sound from Senator Ted Cruz, if you guys could pull that up, because Brian, this is one of the questions that Americans are going to have. It's Rand Paul. The $64 billion that's possibly going to be going to Afghanistan, and I'm wondering, does that pass through the Afghan government? Here's Senator Rand Paul.
This week, you've now released $64 million in aid to Afghanistan. Don't we have some prohibition against giving aid and comfort to the enemy? Are we really naive enough to believe that we're just going to keep sending charity to Afghanistan and they're not going to interrupt it? I think that's a foolish notion. Can you pledge today, without equivocation, that the Biden administration will not release any of this money to the Taliban?
Absent the Taliban making good on the commitments and expectations of the international community that I've outlined previously, that's correct.
Maybe we could deduct a fee for the weapons they took.
Brian, get your thoughts on that or anything else.
Yeah, $64 million is part of a $1.2 billion that we promised for international aid. It turns out that 18 million Afghans depend on the government to live in their food and clothing. So congratulations, Taliban. You got a country to run, all right? Not just people to behead. You actually got to do other stuff. So they want some aid. And they also say, thank you very much, but can we have more? So they want more. I don't see why we'd give them anything, but you go ahead, you want more. So I want you to see that the big thing was over the last few days is it's Trump's fault. It was Trump's deal. We had no choice. So the guy that's professionally at undoing everything President Trump does, and I think Joe Biden takes great pride in it, everything Donald Trump does, he undoes. When it comes to the Taliban deal, well, this is ironclad. This is the deal that Trump had. It's 6 pages. My health club contract is harder to get out of than this. It is as generic as it gets. Anyone can get out of this. And you almost went to law school. You did go to Syracuse Law School. You were at the bottom of your class. You could have handled how to get out of this agreement. And so I texted Mike Pompeo and I said, what was the deal? What's the big difference? Yeah, but he did have an important job. He said we would only have left once all conditions are met. We didn't plan for chaos because we wouldn't have had it. We had constant deterrence. We would hit them as soon as they broke this agreement. And Berardo the Butcher, they said to him flat out, if you break any of this, you take any of these provinces, I know where you live, we will kill you like we just killed Soleimani. And he got that. That's why he called at the edge of Kabul and said, do you want me to take it or do you want to take it? And General McKenzie says, why don't you take it? I'll just take the airport. Can we just honestly say that's one of the stupidest responses to the Taliban? And there's been a lot than I've ever heard in my life. I could not have been more frustrated because not one Democrat did what Joe Lieberman did, what Senator Lugar did to President Bush, what Senator Hagel did. They questioned war decisions. They forgot about party. Nobody forgot what party they were in today on the Democratic side.
Really?
Even though Menendez did say, well, we're gonna find out about that. But there was more kissing his butt than calling him out.
He called it an abject failure, Brian. And in that in your health club thing there, does it also say we're going to release 5,000 Taliban prisoners for 1,000 Afghans?
5,000 or 1,000. I think it's a bad idea. Ambassador Khalilzad cut absolutely a bad idea. But that does not mean you can't break it, push it back, and undo it because it's not in America's interest.
Also, Trump isn't president anymore. Joe Biden is president.
Yeah, take responsibility.
Here we are. Yeah, but I mean, it's September. We're sort of deciding that